Something big is coming. I can feel it. I can feel it in me bones, I tell ya. But it's not today. Today, Blackmagic released the Davinci Resolve 18.6.6 update. And it's not really all that interesting, to be honest, for the vast majority of users. We've got things like the ability to encode Panasonic AVC 150 in MXFOP Atom format. Cool. As well as some other stuff like options to encode Big Endian, and then addressed some other issues, general performance and stability improvements. Now, seeing this update pop up on my computer today made me realize we haven't had a substantial update to Davinci Resolve for quite some time. About 12 months. You see, it was last April 2023, just before NAB, when they introduced Davinci Resolve 18.5, and that was the last big one. Really, we've had some stuff since then, but the last real big major update was in April last year, and 18.5 was a pretty massive one. It introduced things like the AI generated subtitles and the AI speech to text function, timeline level color management, the remote monitoring, the relight tools, the cut page update, and the ability to stabilize multiple videos in one big go, which was super duper handy, and of course the ability to upload directly to TikTok. So generally a pretty good bunch of introductions, new features to Davinci Resolve. Following on from 18.5, they did a couple of small updates when they were just adding new languages and doing a couple of bug fixes and that sort of thing. And then in September of last year, they introduced Davinci Resolve 18.6. Now this was quite a chunky one. It did add some funky stuff, but it's mostly based around the Blackmagic Cloud workflow and the Blackmagic Cloud storage. They did the little update. They obviously introduced the Blackmagic 6K camera as well as the Blackmagic app for iPhone. And then it was all talk about cloud stuff. Obviously, they can't do 18.5 levels of new stuff every single time, but you know what I'm saying. They also introduced some other handy new things like the audio normalization on renders, which I use all the time. It's really, really good. And they did the pretty substantial, actually, improvements to the GPU accelerated effects. If you're using an AMD or an NVIDIA card on Windows, everything just got literally twice as fast, which was super useful. Since then, we've had Davinci Resolve 18.6.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and as of today, 18.6.6. And nearly all of them have just added support for new cameras, support for new codecs, maybe adding some gyro stabilization abilities for the new 6K camera, as well as lots and lots of bug fixes and general performance and stability improvements, which is not a bad thing. Whenever a new Davinci Resolve update comes out that has loads of new features, I always get a bunch of comments saying, I wish they'd stop adding new things and go back and fix some of the old bugs. That's kind of what they have been doing for the past however many months, 6, 7, 8 months, whatever it's been. So, you know, Davinci Resolve should be smoother and more stable, hopefully. It's now March 2024, as you probably are fully aware, and we have NAB just around the corner. So that's happening in Vegas. As always, it's Saturday the 13th of April until Wednesday the 17th of April. Now, I will be there. I'm heading over to Vegas for my second annual NAB. So if you're there and you want to say hello, come say hello. And NAB, just like last year, is where Blackmagic save up some of their big announcements. They showed off the app and they showed off 18.5, and then they did a big talk about all the AI stuff. So I think that's probably going to be happening again this year. It feels like because nothing new has been added, they're kind of saving it up for one big update, hopefully at NAB next month. So what big new stuff is coming? I don't know, honestly. I have no real idea of what to expect for this one. This time last year, we all had a rough idea that the AI generated captions or subtitles were coming. So when they arrived, it was great news, but it wasn't necessarily a massive surprise because lots of people online had been hammering on about having auto-generated captions and subtitles in Davinci Resolve. So, you know. This year though, I don't really know. It kind of feels like they've added an awful lot, and there is a lot to get to grips with in Davinci Resolve already, and it doesn't feel like any of the competition are doing anything particularly above where Resolve is now. So what can we expect? I'd love to know your thoughts. Let me know down in the comments below. I made some rough notes of things which I think maybe and I'm just going to throw them out there into the world because why not? First one, sticking with those auto subtitles in Resolve. I know lots of people would like some improvements to those because they can't really be animated or stylized as they are at the moment, and lots of people want some new abilities and they want to be able to customize them and maybe turn them into text plus. There are some third-party people doing stuff. I've linked them down below. So Patrick did a video introducing you to one tool which runs scripts and allows you to do that. And there's another chap which also introduced a subtitles tool as well. So I've linked those down below. Spell check. I don't really see the need for it. Personally, I've never felt the need to have a spell check in Davinci Resolve, but whenever there's an update, there's always a bunch of comments saying I'd love to see spell check in Davinci Resolve. So maybe they'll introduce that. I don't know. But whatever it is, I think AI is probably going to be a big part of it. AI is everywhere at the moment. You can't really get away from it. Artificial intelligence is the thing. It's making its way into everything. So maybe we're going to get some more cool AI features on top of what's already there. Auto subtitles, speech to text, the magic mask, the voice isolation. Oh, talking of voice isolation, we still don't have the reverse voice isolation. I know lots of people want that, and actually it does make sense. So if you've been out and about recording some B-roll and you want the ambient noise and someone is yabbering away, have a reverse isolation which just gets rid of the voice from the audio track. I think that would actually be kind of cool, actually, and quite useful. There is something which Adobe in Premiere Pro still has which Resolve doesn't, and that's their music feature, which is really quite cool. So it allows you to retime music to fit your edit, so you can make songs longer or shorter, and it will kind of cut it up and fill in the gaps for you so that it all kind of fits. So maybe we're going to see more of these AI features, which are just there to speed up your workflow and make your editing a bit easier and a little bit faster and do some funky stuff. I don't personally think we're going to see any of the generative AI stuff. So things like your auto image creations and your generative fills and all that sort of thing. Purely because that needs a subscription. It does. You need to pay for that sort of thing, and it needs a subscription. All the generative AI stuff needs to be sent up to the cloud where the AI can work its magic. It has tons and tons of resources for it to look through. It's a big thing which can then generate the small thing which you've asked for. That can't really be sat locally. Even something like the auto subtitles, it needs all of the words and all of the languages to be stored locally on your machine, which takes up loads and loads of room. If you try to do generative AI locally, the Davinci Resolve install would balloon massively. It'd be huge. So all of that stuff does need to be sent up to the cloud for that processing to happen. And I just don't think Blackmagic are going to want to do that. They're not going to want to implement all that stuff and then start charging subscription fees, because we know how they feel about subscription fees. Although they are happy to do subscription fees when it's relevant because you've got the Blackmagic cloud. I don't know. I just can't see it, but who knows? Maybe they will. Maybe they'll surprise us and they'll throw out some really cool, super clever, super advanced stuff. Yeah. Or maybe we won't see any of that and we'll see a new take on the edit page, or it'll be slightly redesigned, or we'll see something else. Maybe they'll finally bring some of the cool cut page features over to the edit page. That would be nice. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just waffling because I've got a coffee. There's a new update out and I fancied talking about it. So there you go. So honestly, I have no idea what to expect this time around, but I do feel it. Feel that something's coming and we're going to get a nice big update ahead of NAB. I may well be wrong. I've been wrong in the past and I will definitely be wrong again in the future. But who knows? It does feel like it's been quite a long time and I think something is brewing. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I'll be sure to update you when something does come through. Enjoy editing. Happy days. Fun times. See you next time.